Hi everybody, you are very welcome to today's video, which is the 6th video in our Clare Local Development Company Job Seeker video series. In case you have missed the other videos, my name is Samantha McCarthy and I work with the Social Inclusion and Community Activation Programme here at CLDC. All of the other videos are available at our Facebook page, Clare Job Support, in case you would like to see them. So last week's video looked at the types of questions that can be asked in an interview. And today's video will once again focus on the interview, most specifically some tips that you can think about on the day of the interview as you are preparing yourself. As always, the contact details of the wonderful team that I work with on the Social Inclusion and Community Activation Programme can be found on the last slide, along with the details of the CLDC website, which will give you access to other information about the other supports that we offer. They can be found at www.cldc.ie. We really hope that you tune in again next week, where we will be looking at interview types. So not all interviews are happening face-to-face at the moment because of COVID-19. You may be required to go online to attend an interview. So we are going to start looking at that area next week. But for now, enjoy the tips that you're given as you prepare to attend an interview.
In this video, we will go through personal presentation at interview. We will also have a look at body language and the impact that it can have on your interview performance. I will discuss some of the top tips for the day of your interview and some things to keep in mind. And then finally, I'll summarise everything and provide some important reminders on how to prepare and how to behave at interview. To start off with, it's very important to present yourself well on the day of your interview. Grooming and first impressions are very important considerations. You should plan what to wear well in advance. Make sure that you're very confident and comfortable starting off the day. Do not carry any unnecessary items with you. So if you have any excess items like umbrellas, overcoats, large folders, anything like that, leave that in reception if at all possible. This will make sure that you're as calm and cool and collected as you possibly can be as you walk in the door to your interview. Research has shown that only 7% of the messages we send out is based on the actual words that we use. So this means that 93% of our messages are based on body language and tone of voice. It's really important that you know that you're conveying a good message in this way. Positive body language and a positive tone of voice make all the difference. As a top tip, it can be good to record yourself using your phone or iPad going through some of your interview questions as you practice for the interview. This can help you feel very comfortable that you're using good body language and a positive tone of voice. This can be very difficult to capture otherwise. So this would be my top tip for this area. On the day of your interview, don't forget to put all of your practice to good use. Stand tall and confident. Smile, as this can help you to relax. Where possible, make good eye contact. This is particularly true if you're having a video or an online interview. Try to look at the person who's asked you the question as you respond. Sit straight and don't slouch. Slouching can be seen as disinterest sometimes. Keep your hands together and out of sight. This is particularly true if you have a tendency to fidget when you're nervous. Try not to fold your arms. Instead, you can rest your hands gently in your lap. Show interest in what is said by the interviewers by nodding and tilting your head. You can keep yourself feeling grounded by breathing slow and steady. Now for some top tips on how to behave at the interview itself. Firstly, be on time. This is true for an online interview just as much as it is for face-to-face. Always make sure that you're not too hungry, thirsty, or tired, as this might be distracting for you. We always say to our interview candidates that the interview starts once you're inside the company gate, and that's true for online interviews too. Once you log into your interview session, you should act as if your interview has already started, even if your interviewer doesn't seem to have logged in yet. Be on your interview behaviour immediately. Know where you're going, who you're meeting, and the interview format. If you are doing an online interview, you should know what system you're using, the link that you're going to use to access the interview, and how everything works. If you're giving extra materials beforehand to help you, so instructions on how to use the technology, for example, make sure you've read through these and understand everything. If you don't be afraid to ask questions. You should expect to be nervous. Nerves can be a very positive source of energy. Listen to the questions that's being asked and take your time answering. Don't be afraid to pause for a moment or two to gather your thoughts if you're having trouble understanding or beginning an answer. That's perfectly fine. The first 30 seconds of your interview are an opportunity for a meet and greet. This means that you have a chance to feel comfortable in the interview space, whether that's online or face-to-face in an interview room. If you're face-to-face, then you should walk in confidently. If it's an online interview, then you should sit tall and confidently throughout. We often talk about the 80-20 rule at interview. This means that you should be speaking for about 80% of the time, and your interviewer should be speaking for about 20% of the time. You can see that neither person is taking over the interview completely. You're talking for most of the time, but you're also giving the interviewer an opportunity to ask you questions. If you're talking all of the time, or most of the time, then perhaps you may be waffling or may not be focusing on the question that you've been asked. If you're talking for a lot less than this, then you might not be giving enough detail in response to the questions you're being asked. The last 30 seconds of the interview are an opportunity for you to ask a question. So you might be interested in how many people are going to be on your team, for example, or when you might hear back about the next steps in the interview process. Don't be afraid to ask this question now, and it's good to be prepared for this. You might also be given an opportunity to summarise your experience. Your interviewers might ask you, do you have anything to add, for example? And this is a good chance for you to go back over your history and talk a little bit about your key skills. You should always thank your interviewers for their time and end the interview on a positive note. Thank you for listening to this video. The next video will go through competency-based interview questions and the STAR technique. In the meantime, contact Samantha and her colleagues for support using the contact details on screen. You can also visit the Clare Local Development Company website on www.cldc.ie for more information on the Social Inclusion and Community Activation Programme. Very best of luck with your interview preparation.